Guys, we're going live in just a second here, and it looks like our stream is good. Welcome back to the Mind Your Biz live stream. Trying out a different setup, as you guys may or may not be aware. Slightly different look here. Upgraded some of the webcam, upgraded the microphone, so I'm not wearing a head-mounted mic. Should sound a little bit better. Still have to kind of iron out the kinks. I wanted to get like whatever, like radio DJ voice. I'd have to get all up in the mic element, but that doesn't work all the time. Got to be hands-free to be able to work through some of the content today. And speaking of which, we're going to start things off. You know what? I'm realizing actually my audio levels are very low. That is a bit of an issue. I could correct for that just a little bit. Let me quickly make a bit of a change there and give this just a little bit more of a gain pop before I get things going. Yeah, before I back off there. I've got some other aggressive audio sidechain elements going, but I actually have to raise my voice to an extent that I'm not really comfortable with. Whatever. Guys, I'm kind of doing some troubleshooting of AV as we go. Let me jump out of the way and show you the fear and what index? It is not showing me a dang thing. All right, let's jump back in. Fear and greed index. There we go. Got the fear and greed index current score of 33, and it looks like that score has gone down from yesterday. Apparently people were moving into complacency yet again. But what happens when you're complacent in markets like these? You get wrecked. And that's pretty much what happened. People got excited about a relief rally with Bitcoin. Reminder, your chat is on the screen, so please do be on your best behavior. Just, I know you guys always are. I'm not telling you what to do or what to say, just asking you to please, think of the children. Anyway, jumping out of the way, I view this as a counter indicator. Is that advice? Obviously not. If you think that, you must be new here. But when we have a quick downturn in the market sentiment, that just means that people were getting a little bit too riled up, a little bit too fast, thinking that a small move in Bitcoin's market cap, Bitcoin's price, was going to equal some kind of a complete market reversal. It didn't. Obviously, it didn't. There was some relief. Some people thought it was due to the international news, Ukraine and Russia, all kinds of other external factors that were causing for some kind of a correction. I was not quite so bullish on the change, and I kind of held my ground. In fact, I sold a little bit of Bitcoin on the way up because I just thought, you know what? I'm hitting price parity to when I acquired a payment in Bitcoin. I'm going to treat it like cash. And I went and just sold it at my acquisition price. Like, I know. But here's the thing, zero cap gains. So you do you come up with your own strategy. Here's the chart for Bitcoin. We're looking at those three primary ranges. Zoom back out. What do they mean? If you're not new to this segment of the show, I view these ranges to mean good DCA quality right here, good DCA range. Anything below this is just like, I could identify a new range if we needed to. We don't need to yet. But if we needed to, I could identify a new range below this, which is like, shut up and take my money, right? Below that range. Here in the green range, though, I view this as sort of like decent DCA. Like, this is not a bad time to consider dollar cost averaging if that's a strategy that you know is going to work for you. If you know that you kind of need to have those checks and balances for yourself of just like slowly and methodically put some crypto or some fiat into Bitcoin, then that might be the best way to look at that range. Yellow means either, depending on your risk tolerance, it either means slow down or it means go faster, right? Speed up and go ahead and continue to kind of YOLO into your DCAs. Like, not worry about it too much. The red range, in my mind, a bit like a stoplight, means stop, right? Definitely you have to hit the brakes. And then anything that's more red than red, right here, this ultraviolet, definitely means like you're going beyond red, you're getting really hot, you're going to get burned, you got to slow down, you got to stop. You definitely have to stop. Last time we adjusted the chopsticks, we were in a downtrend, moving down into this green range, into the DCA range. And I'm really glad that I identified that as the trend. I think we're actually back on track with that trend since we got that bounce. I don't think that we're facing a market reversal yet. I think we'd have to see a couple other things happen in the world for me to believe that we are in something of a market reversal. Now, I mean, whatever. World news, according to Seth. Like, what does it actually mean? In my opinion, it just means that seeing some unrest internationally doesn't automatically mean that Bitcoin is going to now become the world reserve currency. It doesn't necessarily mean that everybody is flying to hard assets, right? Like there's a flight to hard assets like Bitcoin, or that it's going to replace the US dollar, or that it's going to replace the Russian ruble. Most importantly, everybody's saying, okay, because the SWIFT system is being disconnected in Russia and because we're having all these sanctions imposed on Russia, well, then obviously it follows that Bitcoin is going to become the new de facto world currency. Because, look at El Salvador and look at all the other countries throughout the world that are considering adoption of Bitcoin. Look at all the states here in the United States that are considering accepting taxes in Bitcoin and in other cryptocurrencies, and that are interested in potentially viewing it as legal tender. I just don't think it follows that Bitcoin will automatically fit that description and fill that function for people who are in these situations. I just don't. I don't think that it's going to necessarily follow that everybody will get on board with Bitcoin. There are still some people who are legitimate Bitcoin haters who think that it's like not good at all, think it's a scam, think it's, some kind of a Ponzi. I mean, Peter Schiff, that poor guy, he's having to dig his heels in and circle the wagons around his bad investing philosophy of Bitcoin being like the devil, being the anti-gold. Whereas, there are some preppers out there who are like, yeah, no, I've got Bitcoin and gold, but I also stockpile ammo, right? Like, and food. So there's so many different investing strategies and so many different risk tolerances that it's important to note that not everybody will universally get on board with Bitcoin. It's just not going to happen. Not right now. And not because of some emergency in a distant country or off in Eastern Europe. So yeah, I think that relief rally, it was just that. It was a short-term relief rally. Maybe we will see some positive price action again in the near future, but I'm not going to call this move the brand new signal of everything completely changing. Let me double check to make sure that I have my cursor. Oh dear, man, this is just acting kind of rough. There you go. Capture cursor. Dang. OBS is giving me just a little bit of grief right now, guys. Snap your fingers, clap your hands, do whatever you got to do. There we go. To help. No, it's just not going to do it. Okay, so no cursor for you guys. Sorry about that. A little bit of stream difficulty. I might wind up ultimately switching to like StreamYard or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to go that route at some point. Not today, though. Not today. But yeah, again, I don't think that this short-term relief rally is going to signal a full-on market reversal. We would have to bounce off of the current level at find support at like 40K and then jump back into this yellow range here, in my opinion, right? So me as the non-TA guy, the non-trader, just the guy who talks about markets in general and is still a huge mining aficionado. I think we'd have to see some massive other changes in the market in order to see that trend reverse. I think, if anything, what I'd prefer to do now is zoom way out and let's go ahead and grab our chopsticks again. And instead of let's just go ahead and take a look at that slope. Oh, come on, chopsticks. The one thing about being on a laptop that's a little bit frustrating. Let's go ahead and let's look at a much bigger move now, okay? And let's slice through some of our bottoms here, or let's just take a look at that trend. We could start doing parallel lines, I guess, but let's just take a look at this way more zoomed out. Oof, man, defeated by a trackpad on a mouse. But I think that's the general trend right there, and I think that that's roughly the same slope as before. The fact that we're seeing some bounces away from that, I don't think that it actually diminishes that trend all that much. If anything, we could call it we could create some obtuse angle here, right? Or we could create some open angle here, and but yeah, instead of it being like a downward or descending triangle, we can call it a descending wedge, I guess, or whatever. I don't know what the hell this thing is called. Sorry for the language, but I don't know how else to describe this because I don't have TA language, right, in my vocabulary. But just to say, we could maybe have this range, right, and say we have, with confidence, these are our boundaries, but I still think that it is going down. I don't think that there's anything about Bitcoin right now that's fundamentally in recovery mode since we were up at this peak of $67,000 and or that wick at 70, right, 69 and change. I don't think that we're seeing genuine relief. I don't think that that's happened, right? Like we didn't continue on this trend, right? That thank goodness was there's some relief from that. It slowed down here, but then it trended downward at that same with that same velocity again in these two ranges, yellow to green. So yeah, I think way too many people are high on hopium right now. I just don't believe it. Gotta go ahead and show some comments. What the heck? What's going on? Dave Jack is in the chat saying, hit that thumbs up. Appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Some Goblin Loser says, morning, everybody. Ooh, I got in on the mining chopsticks time. Yes, you did, sir. Yes, you did. Thank you for being here, guys. Appreciate your chats coming in live. Appreciate those thumbs ups as well. I do see we have some lurkers. This is, for whatever reason, the case when I go live this time of day. So I will take it. Thank you, YouTube algorithm. Thank you for whoever is embedding me on your website. I appreciate you. This you so much. But yeah, with the markets, guys, I just don't see this being a sign of massive recovery anytime soon. Chopsticks, I don't think it's fair to leave them in this huge, shotgun spread angle. That's just that's very non-committal. Even for a guy who's not a technician like me, that's kind of a cop out. Let's just be very real about that. I know it, you know it. That's a cop out. I'm not gonna leave it at that. Kind of a lame thing to do. But let's go ahead and redefine something of a trend, or maybe I can just try to come up with see if I can transpose that line. Nope, doesn't transpose very neatly. And see if I can transpose this chopstick. No, it actually does map over to here pretty well as something of I won't call it a fractal, but it does map over to here pretty darn well. Kind of signals the relief from that. And then we're getting an even steeper dip over here. I think that the market keeps trying to bleed out, and we need to just let the gosh darn thing take it on the chin. Just let it find its proper organic bottom support. Let it find a genuine support instead of having whales and institutions jump in and continue to pump the price up artificially and then hold the price down artificially. We probably should have seen $100,000 Bitcoin this cycle, but we didn't. And we probably should have already at some point here or maybe here, we should have already seen something close to 25 or 20K Bitcoin. Maybe. I mean, again, I'm not a technician. I'm not going to pretend to be the guy that has all this insight here or whatever. But my intuition tells me that we probably should have seen those two extremes. Probably should have seen higher highs and lower lows at some point now. Now that we've been able to test it twice. They've been able to retest those new all-time highs twice. So anyway, I'll just I'll shut up and set my chopsticks now. You guys tell me what is good in your area of the world, though. Tell me, what are you drinking? Is it morning time where you are? Is it afternoon? Is it evening? You having a little cup of water? You having a protein shake like yours truly? Because I skipped breakfast, so it's not quite lunch yet. It's close, but not quite lunch yet. So you tell me in the comment section, guys. What are you having? Would love to just know that. And if you are a mining aficionado like yours truly, what are you mining right now? What coins are you mining? What coins are you staking? What coins are you providing liquidity for? What's happening in your world today? Let's go ahead and redraw this right here. I think that's our most recent big formation, where before we reversed and started to bounce again. I'm not even totally sure how I want to draw these chopsticks right now, guys. Again, don't take this stuff too seriously. It's literally a dude who is not a trained technician drawing two lines on a chart with some colorful bands around them. So yeah, MACD is still showing that the histogram is bullish, but it is, let's see those little, the amplitude of those little waves in the histogram, those little bars in the histogram, it's growing down, right? Obviously, because it's matching that wave there. So yeah, we're nearing a bearish convergence, right? Or it's a convergence moving towards the bearish side. So I don't know, maybe we'll see that flip really soon. And if we do, this will move down into the green range. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's DCA time, a good DCA time now. Maybe this entire time has been okay, right? Last few weeks have been all right. Or from January into the current date. But yeah, looking at this, I'm seeing something of a downward trend here. I don't I see this as a kind of a more random breakout based on some news in Russia. and Ukraine, but I don't see it as a sustainable trend per se. But let me see if I can draw lines here that just like make sense in my head. And then I will commit to, I'm going to chop that lower wave in half, and I'm going to extend that. I realize there's like zero method to this, so take no stock in what I'm doing here. But yeah, the forecast is, there you go. 32, not 32.8, somewhere in the 32 to 33K range. Don't take that seriously. All right, that's been saved. So we've got a chart for our Bitcoin speculation side of the show. You've been warned, right? Something will happen with Bitcoin. It's going to go up or it's going to go down. You heard it here first. Anyway, got by one guy saying it's Friday afternoon, enjoying some Doge Lord coffee. Heck yeah. As well, I'm enjoying the amazing content from my favorite crypto content creators. Hey, he might be talking about me. Haha, cool. Thanks, man. Appreciate you being here. Damon is here also saying, I have a 3080 in my gaming rig, been mining a minute, ready for a mining rig. What cars would y'all be going after? Hey, it's a great question. I'm going to jump that or kind of pump that back over to the audience because we got a lot of miners here in the audience. So you can get some really great feedback from people who are here in the comments. But I would say it's almost time. It's almost time. I would be really cautious about buying new gear just yet, which is why I put that clickbait title in for this video. There's some other mining content creators who are telling you like, oh my gosh, prices are going down. Buyer beware, caution. I love these people dearly. They're great at what they do. I think it's too early to start buying. Personally, I do. I think it's too early to start buying GPUs. I think it's too early to start buying any other mining gear. I think you're still going to get gouged quite a bit. And I think that there are plenty of people who still want to sell to you at slightly overinflated prices because they're trying to rotate out some of their inventory because they know that they're going to earn more in the profit margin of selling some of their slightly used gear than they will mining over the next 3 months. There you go. I said it. I told you straight. I do think that there's a bit of a conflict of interest when it comes to us representing some of the projects that we represent and talking about mining too, right? Like it can be a really tricky thing, right? The fact that I'm even here on YouTube, like makes, am I slitting my own throat here? I'm trying to be real here. Like the fact that you're talking to somebody on YouTube occasionally means that they're publishing something, right? They're marketing, they're selling. That's why they are online on some level. So there's always that little grain of salt, right? That little bit of skepticism. So I would be really cautious about that. I wanted to go live today talking about how, in my opinion, a bit like how I sounded the alarm with Chia, I still think it's too early to buy GPUs. I still think it's too early to buy used ASICs. I still think it's too early to talk about how prices are coming down. So, yay, rejoicing, and everybody's gonna, we're all gonna make it. No. It's very easy to not make it in crypto mining if you buy too high. It's that simple. If you buy your equipment too expensively, you're not going to make it. So I would urge caution there. Let me double check to see exactly what the rest of the news cycle is, because I also put a little bit more lag on this intentionally on this live stream to make sure that the comments could be closed captioned automatically by YouTube. YouTube does a pretty good job at taking my voice. I speak relatively clearly at taking my voice and creating closed captions in real time. And I felt like that's probably an important thing to do moving forward, but I have to let it, I have to increase the latency just a little bit between like on my live streaming dashboard. So just, let's got to deal with it a little bit. But appreciate your comments coming in, guys. Do make sure that you continue to comment. Thankfully, this is still not such a big channel that I can't just read your comments and interact with you. There is no like pay to play. You don't have to submit a super chat or be a patron over on Patreon or, or a paid subscriber or whatever. Just say what you feel, answer questions if you see them come up, and ask good questions too. I really love that question about the 3080 and then building up from there. We'll go over some mining efficiency and some mining profits in just a minute. But first, let's take the news cycle head on, because we know these markets are not rational. We know they're predominantly guided by people's emotions, fear and greed. But what creates that fear and greed? Well, typically it's the news cycle. It's the FUD and FOMO cycle in the news. But I got something from Crypto Briefing that I think is kind of important. This is about Cosmos and the Cosmos ecosystem. Currently, Cosmos has risen by more than 60% in a week. It's a bit much, right? So a bit like kind of gained or tied to that relief rally that Bitcoin had, right? Where it was boom, big old relief rally. Well, what goes up artificially must come down organically, unfortunately, right? At some point, bubbles pop, right? And waves correct. Waves come back down. But Cosmos is no stranger to this. It also went up 60%, and then it's probably going to correct. They think it's going to push it down to $28. We'll take a look at that in our portfolio in just a little while. Also, Axie Infinity ranks as the most searched NFT on Google search. Well, what does that mean? Ranked on Google search? Well, I'm not a big fan of just trusting what news articles say about Google search. We have tools that we can use. They're really, really simple tools that we can use to verify that. We don't have to just trust. And I want to go over that with you. I'm going to show this to you. There's not a link to this in the description, but it's really easy to find. It's a tool called Google Trends. And you get to it simply by going to trends.google.com. It's really that simple. So you can input some search terms. I've got dark mode here automatically applied, courtesy of Dark Reader. They don't actually offer it. I wish they did. It'd be a lot better if they did. Much better tool. And I'm showing results here for Canada. You know what, though? I could probably change this to the US. Let me go ahead and do that. United States. All right, show me the search terms. All right, it's about the same curve, right? Generally, North America is about the same everywhere you go, roughly, in terms of search volume for this sort of thing. But Axie Infinity is apparently the biggest search NFT. Well, let's validate that. Let's just search NFT as a search term. And it's dead. It's gone. No, not even close. NFTs just trounce Axie Infinity, but even NFTs are on the downtrend. See that? Over the last few weeks, from January all the way through February, now into March, no, search volume for NFTs is actually dropping. They want you to think that Axie Infinity is the hottest new thing. But this is News BTC. I'm not saying that Jet is making anything up, but what I am saying is it's probably just a little bit exaggerated. Maybe. Or it's just like a local top where it's been the last week or two. Let's go just more recently, go to the past 7 days and see what our results are there. But again, this is trends.google.com. This is freely available info that Google publishes. Now, whether or not it's manipulated is another solid guess. We don't know. We can't possibly know for sure whether or not there's any manipulation there. What? Some goblin loser coming through with a super chat? Dude. Oh my gosh. That's so kind of you. Looks like Sam also is going in on new CVP13 FPGA cards. Nice. Guys, CVP13, it's just a beautiful, beautiful piece of tech. Typically water cooled. Just really great FPGA. And mining NIM with existing CVPs. That's great. And let's see, some goblin loser coming through with a super chat says, you're not going to like this, but I am bullish on ETC, mining ETC, and might be getting an RX 580 today for a good deal. That's great, man. No, I'm excited for you, really. It's about trying to get some kind of, trying to get some kind of a return on any of this hardware that so many miners buy, right? So I'm a huge fan of older tech with GPU mining in particular. The RX 580 is a phenomenal, the Polaris edition cards, they're a phenomenal value. Bro, they still hash at 33 mega hashes per second on Ethereum and on Ethereum Classic. And if you can really get them finely tuned, you can overclock and undervolt to get them sipping at 75 or 85 watts. They pretty much destroy all the newer cards in terms of hash per dollar per watt. So picking them up for half the price of other cards that only do about 33 or maybe 40 mega hashes, there's just no comparison, right? So you're going to get your money back on a purchase like that way faster than somebody who right now is looking for new in box, say RX 6600s or 6600 XTs. Cool story, bro. You got a warranty and all that. That's fine. But if you intend to mine on this thing for a year and a half or 2 years or 3 years, I mean, your mining activity is going to outlast the warranty anyway. So if you're really worried about having to call in a warranty in the next 12 months, you might not be thinking about the economics of mining. So I think you're doing it right there, personally. Damon is saying, not buying many, just 2 to 3 to start off. I'm paying about 10 cents per kilowatt hour. That's great. Damon, first off, yeah, you're thinking, I think, the right way. By keeping your cost for power at about 10 cents, you could go lower. I'm just going to say that. So consider any possible resource you have available to you to bring that cost even lower. If you can shave off 2 cents, 3 cents per hour, per kilowatt hour, boy, oh boy, will you feel it in the current market. And if we continue to crab sideways with the GPU mining profits, you will definitely recapture that value very fast. But guys, Google Trends, I think this kind of tells us more of the real story about what's happening with Axie Infinity. And I just don't think it's as much, right? It's literally 50 to 1 ratio and upwards of a 77, 84 to 1 ratio. It's just like 99 to 1. I mean, it just dominates just the generic NFT searches. We can even just, for interest, let's go ahead and put in OpenSea, right? So OpenSea as a search term. If you put in OpenSea, we're going to find that NFTs and OpenSea are probably a more apt comparison, and they're totally correlated. See that? Well, as interest in NFTs grows, so does interest in OpenSea. And it's a little more like a 5 to 1 ratio there, roughly. If I'm reading that correctly, almost exactly a 5 to 1 ratio. And yeah, it just, I don't get how Axie Infinity is the thing. Let's add one more element here, and we'll go play to, oh, come on, earn? Really? Play to earn is not even going to show up here? There you go, play to earn. It's right up there with Axie Infinity. I didn't expect that to be the case. I thought for sure that play to earn would have just a little bit more going for it, but shoot. Hey, some Goblin Loser, I don't know that. Yeah, I'm just gotta say, like in the live stream, the little video right here, it warms my heart to see that a super chat was there. Thanks so much, man. I was being serious. You guys, you really don't have to do that, but that was really cool that you did. Thank you. It's been a while since I've seen that, but like I don't do this for that. You guys don't have to do that. You really don't. But it was a nice thing for you to do. Thank you. Anyway, guys, that's our current search results on Google Trends. And I'm going to go to the last bit of news for the day, but we are going to do a little more follow-up on this bit of news too. Consensus has been sued. Consensus is the company that owns Infura, which is the main RPC infrastructure and main full node hosting infrastructure for Ethereum. So if you're ever using, say, MetaMask, for example, the baseline RPC that it uses, the baseline infrastructure that it uses to tell you what the balance of your wallets is inside of Infura. And in fact, MetaMask is also owned by this group, Consensus. It's owned and created by this group, Consensus. So you may have seen some communities looking for alternatives to MetaMask, like, hey, what are we going to do? MetaMask is all right, but we want something that's got a little more open source and kind of more directed by the community. It's a very useful tool if you use MetaMask on the desktop. And in this house, on this live stream, we believe in Web3. Yes, I'm a Bitcoin maximalist at heart. I will always hold Bitcoin, and I definitely believe and understand its mission. So I'm always going to hold enough Bitcoin to ensure that that my family is okay. That's my word right there. So that's Bitcoin though, and I do view that as a bit separate from Web3 for now. And we'll come back to like Web3 and Bitcoin in a future episode at some point. We'll talk about it. Things like impervious.ai, which I think absolutely need to be covered. And we absolutely need to talk about them because they're amazing. But I don't think they're the right way to implement it on top of Bitcoin personally. So we'll talk about the nuance there another time. But Web3, MetaMask is like the gateway. Ethereum is sort of like the de facto standard when it comes to Web3 and interacting with websites, being able to log in with some kind of credentials there. I believe we should stay anonymous there using it. I don't think you should go out and get one of those vanity.eth addresses, for example. You're not going to, if you ever see like a mineyourbiz.eth address, it's not me. I'm very unlikely to buy that. If anybody else buys it and gifts it to me or something, I don't want it as a gift. I don't want the responsibility of people knowing exactly which addresses are mine anymore. I think as a younger creator, I made that mistake of having public addresses for both Bitcoin and Ethereum listed, and I just don't do that anymore. Or if those are still public, I've abandoned those addresses. Full stop. I just don't use them. So I just think it's a huge mistake. We many of us give away too much information. So yeah, with Web3, it's a tricky thing. But MetaMask is the gateway. Most people are familiar with Web3 and Ethereum being sort of like the de facto standard within Web3. Their exposure to Web3 is through MetaMask, but MetaMask is owned by this company, Consensus, and Infura, the whole network backing it. It's both. So think of Infura as both the RPCs and the nodes, the full nodes on Ethereum's network. That's all Infura infrastructure. And most people use that. Like, I mean, it's got to be like 95% of the Ethereum ecosystem is totally dependent on Infura and then further MetaMask. But it's all owned by this company, Consensus. Now, why are people all upset about Consensus? Well, this lawsuit shows that it's because JP Morgan, yes, like the like Jamie Dimon, like Bitcoin is a scam. That JP Morgan, they own a significant portion of Consensus, which is how they then indirectly own a lot of the Ethereum infrastructure. The people use it. So former employees are a bit upset that the shareholders include some of these centralized entities, and yeah, some other. They see some problems with it, right? So they've got MetaMask and Infura. They're in the ownership chain, right? So they're not on the value chain of Ethereum. And I don't mean I don't mean the blockchain. I mean just the value chain, the people that own the stuff. So when people accuse Ethereum of being too centralized, they're right. They are. They are far too centralized, and groups like this just prove it, that there's far too much centralization, and specifically centralization at putting the power into the hands of the TradFi groups, the people who we say we don't want to have in control of cryptocurrency and blockchain. We just it's a publicly traded company, Consensus, so any other group can buy shares in it, and any other group did buy shares in it, and now we're all upset. So there's a bit of a problem with corporo state-backed cryptocurrency and blockchain, and we're seeing it right now. These are definitely some of those growing pains. I'm not too happy about it, but you guys tell me what you think. Paul Doherty. Oh my gosh. Paul Doherty says the .f addresses impress girls. Well, that's the thing, guys. I am totally married, and I've just given up on life. I've stopped trying to impress girls. Given up on trying to impress girls. I've given up on life. I got to walk that back a little bit. I feel like I'm a pretty youthful and vibrant person. My wife tends to agree, but I don't know. Maybe her judgment is off. Maybe that's why she married me. Maybe she's totally wrong about everything in life. I mean, let's be real. Those two things could be related. I could be a really bad bet. She could have totally chosen the worst pick ever. But I don't think I've given up on life. But I'm also not trying to impress girls. So .f, nah, it's out of the cards. Not happening. But yeah. Paul Doherty also says, was the SEC guy who said that wasn't a security former JP Morgan / tinfoil? That may be the case. So you may be thinking of Gary Gensler, who was talking about not only ETH, but also Bitcoin. I think he was also referring to proof of work specifically. And well, he's now the SEC guy, right? But the former SEC guy who ruled on Ethereum not being a security, Gary Gensler seems to have interpreted that as being proof of work coins. Well, what happens to Ethereum when it goes proof of stake? That first off, that gives JP Morgan some of the biggest voting rights in the Ethereum ecosystem. Do we really want this? Do you really want this? I don't think I really want that. I think it's a huge mistake, personally. And Paul, let's see. Paul also just jumped back at the comments, says you can sue anyone for literally anything, and he's totally right. Right, so you got to be careful about how you talk about people in particular, because then they can make the case of defamation. But yeah, so and people can sue you over far less because of the nuance. Like you dead named me. You whatever you what is it? You misgendered me. Oh my gosh. What a world, right? Like you can get sued over calling somebody who is apparently a biological male or female by saying openly, like, well, they looked like they were male or female to me. I just didn't know. I don't know you. I'm sorry. Like I just said it. I said the wrong thing. So yeah, it's a pretty crazy world. Crazy world. But Damon goes on to say, yeah, if you can get them super cheap, that'd be great. Just no resale to gamers, not so much of a backup plan on AMDs. Yeah, AMDs in general they're a lot more difficult as far as reselling to gamers. Nvidia is just like, The resale, it doesn't lie. You're right. It's just way better. For AMD though, if you're getting into mining, then yeah, just run until the wheels fall off. Literally, the fans fall off and the thermal paste is all crusty and you got to recondition it. Just keep on making them work. Bits be tripping. Bless that guy's heart. He's made some Polaris edition mining cards, the old Nitro RX 470 4 gig mining cards. He's made them run for years, repasting them, changing out heat sinks as needed, changing out fans as needed, now doing single phase liquid immersion cooling just to keep those darn things running because they've been paid off like multiple times over. So he's my hero, legit. Bitsby Trippin is my hero in that respect. He's still growing his farm, of course, but he's got had thousands of those cards running, and he just kept them running, right? Like they kept hashing at 33 mega hashes per second, so he just kept running them. So absolutely love what that guy's done, the example that he's set there, and I totally take inspiration from that. But yeah, the infrastructure not so great. I think that's kind of sad. I think the bottom line question is though, what can we do right at the grassroots level? I think the first thing you can do is stop using MetaMask on your phone, because MetaMask is available as an app on your phone. And oh, yikes, I've got emails. But MetaMask is just one of those options on your phone. I've got MetaMask installed because it just out of habit, right? So I do have MetaMask there, but I haven't reinitialized it on this phone because I just got tired of that. And I don't like being able to use mobile wallets that can't be backed up with a hardware wallet. And MetaMask Mobile, ironically, doesn't let you use a Ledger, doesn't let you use a Trezor to back up your wallets. It might allow you to do the Nano X, but here's the thing. The Nano X is the most expensive option. Like the Nano S has a secure element and it does well enough. And, being a family man, cheapskate, I'd rather get multiple hardware wallets for multiple members of my family than buy just one that barely adds any new functionality. So yeah, maybe I'm a little bit of a cheapskate there, but I've also got WallEth installed. You can't see it. Dang. Got to put it way back here. Yeah, that's it's funny wallpaper, but I've got WallEth installed. Fully open source, supports every single network. You can add new custom RPCs to it if you want to. It allows you to route your traffic on your Ethereum transactions through your VPN, through Orbot, which is the mobile version of Tor. And so there's just so much more flexibility and so much more privacy that's extended to you that way. Plus, you're supporting open source. So it's just way better. And it allows you to back up and import wallets using a Trezor signing device. So it's a pretty powerful piece of tech right there, and it's fully open source, confirmed to run on the mineyourbiz phone, which is fully de-Googled. Which, guys, I might have some bad news. I might have to announce that in the next couple of days, but de-Googled phones run the WallEth software very well. For the desktop, though, I got something else for you. Let's take a look at that in the other view. But keep those comments coming, guys. But if you're wondering how you can change that, WallEth on mobile and then Rabby on the desktop. Rabby.io. Looks like Rabbit, right? So Rabby.io runs on Chrome, runs on Firefox. So you're totally covered there. I'm running it not on Brave, but on different versions of Chrome. Has its own. Apparently you should be able. Apparently it's not running on Firefox yet. Bummer. Come on, guys, get with it. I need it to be able to run on LibreWolf and on so many other Firefox forks, right? I'm not really a huge fan of Firefox by itself. I know I've got to just harden it and probably deal with it, right? Like do a hardened Firefox installation and stop complaining so much. But what I love about it is that when you take a look at your wallet address, so I've got an example right here. You can name it, of course, give it nicknames and stuff. When you look at that one wallet address, it gives you the total balance, get this, across every single network, not just Ethereum. You don't just have to switch intentionally over to BSC or Matic or Ethereum Classic or whichever, or Phantom or Avalanche or whatever to be able to see your balances on those networks. It just automatically crawls all of those networks and gives you the sum total like you'd expect in a normal portfolio. So you don't have to go track everything down and try to use spreadsheets on your own to understand what your wallet balance is. If you have a wallet address, it should be like MetaMask today should be able to show you what your total wallet balance is for a given EVM account. It doesn't. Rabby does. So it's already better than MetaMask, but it too is open source and freely available. I'm going to show you right here. Is the GitHub account for Rabby. It says Rabby Hub is the main group that publishes it, and then Rabby. This is all of the source code to that wallet. It's all right there. Tells you about the architecture, gives you explanations in the README as to what to do if you want to either contribute or if you wanted to literally just fork it and take it in an entirely different direction. You could. I don't think you need to, though. So yeah, runs as a Chrome extension. It is super helpful for all of the major EVM style chains and just runs better. Guys, in my experience so far, Rabby is just so much more pleasant to work with. I'm not going to give you a demonstration or a walkthrough here because I haven't fully staged any kind of a demonstration workflow for that, and I don't want to reveal wallet addresses. That's the one maybe negative here, is that Rabby, if you're not careful, you can reveal the full contents of your wallet to anybody who's watching. So yeah, I can't just like show you a walkthrough there just yet, but it's pretty darn good. Let's see. Yeah, but I've really enjoyed using Rabby so far. You can also set it up to become the default for when a website asks for MetaMask, it sends the request over to Rabby, and Rabby intercepts that request from MetaMask instead. So you don't have to worry about whether or not, say, like a given web service or NFT or play to earn game or whatever, any kind of website or portfolio tracker if you use one, you don't have to worry about whether or not it's supported, Rabby is supported by that service. Rabby will just act instead as though it is MetaMask for you and just jump in the way and take those requests, those calls from the front end and be like, all right, I'm the Web3 wallet. And it just does everything else. It's pretty great. In addition, you see right here, this is basically what the UI looks like. When you click on Rabby itself, the plugin right there, it gives you a little drop down, shows you the address. You can switch to multiple accounts, or the account right there, switch to multiple accounts. You can import accounts using Ledger, which I think is just so phenomenal, so convenient. You can use Ledger as a signing device within Rabby. And then once you've chosen that account, you can click on each token balance right there, and it'll give you a full list of the tokens that you hold. Let's see if it shows you exactly. It'll give you a full list of the tokens that you hold, and it'll right next to them show you what network that they're on. Same with DeFi. It'll show you liquidity positions, pairs that you have locked up in liquidity, or I guess some more like high level overview of DeFi yield instruments you have in place. And then with NFTs, it'll show you your NFT balance as well and show you which network they're on. So you don't have to like guess, oh, was it on that network? Was I holding this on Ethereum? Did I happen to buy that particular thing on Matic, on Polygon? It just shows you, right? Like, I don't know why we weren't insisting that MetaMask did this before, because it could, right? Like RPCs and these calls, they're not impossible to do. And this team Rabby did it with like a fraction of the budget that the MetaMask team has, or that the consensus team has rather. So it's one of those things where it's like, clearly funding isn't the problem. It's just like the will to provide something that's more useful, right? Maybe it makes your previous versions obsolete. Maybe, I don't know, it upsets somebody somewhere that you don't have enough control over it or something. I don't know. But Rabby, I've just found to be so much more useful, guys. I'm not paid to talk to you about this. They don't even know I'm doing it. They have no clue that I'm talking about Rabby right now. I just really like it that much. I've been using it for weeks now, and I use MetaMask for tutorials because I have to do tutorials for work. But for my own personal stuff, I'm using Rabby because it's better. It's just better. I can't put it any other way. The one thing I think is not my favorite and that needs to be addressed is that you can't put in your own custom RPC URLs. You can't put in your own custom networks into Rabby yet. But when you can, I think it'll be a far superior product overall. Also, that's a limitation in that you can't change from the Infura infrastructure for Ethereum. So on Rabby, if you wanted to say, for example, use the ethermine.org, use their private RPC for Ethereum, you couldn't change that if you wanted to on Rabby, and you can on MetaMask. So, there's a little bit of a trade-off still. MetaMask is really good for that, in that, like, if you don't want to use the Infura RPCs, you don't have to. But again, on mobile, WallEth does let you do that. It lets you put in your own custom RPCs. It lets you import any network that you want to. But I'm really looking forward to Rabby having some kind of a mobile application that also allows you to use a hardware signing device like a Ledger or like a Trezor. That to me would be, it would totally be like the killer app for Web3, is something like Rabby that just gives you that full overview of all of your accounts, regardless of what network they're on, and shows you your full holdings and your portfolio without having to like sift through a ton of menus. That's just dumb. You shouldn't have to do that. It's insane. We're currently in a multi-chain world. There's no question about whether or not the future of Web3 is multi-chain. The present of Web3 is multi-chain. So we need that now. We don't need to wait for that a year from now when consensus finally, gets its pantsuit off of it and is like, oh no, we should probably start making things people want. No, we need it now. We totally need it now. Anyway, guys, huge rant there. Apologies for the rant, but I've really enjoyed using Rabby that much. Paul says, MetaMask occasionally displays my Matic as ETH and makes me feel rich for a moment or two. Rabby would take that away from me. Oh, that's just a fair point. That's definitely a fair point. Rabby does just kind of, it gives you the straight dope. So yeah, not as good in that regard. But yeah, that's my suggestion there. Take a look at Rabby, guys. Not paid to tell you that. I just really enjoy using it, and you might too. txstreet.com. What do we got here? Looks like current pending transactions, as per usual, way backed up. Take that off of our lineup. Nope, don't show me anything there. I don't need to know that. Take away the last block, median transfer fee, and then the median gas price, as well as our contract. We're going to get our median. Hey, wait a second. Median contract fee. I went just right past it. There we go. So we're going to leave that as the current options that are available. Median transfer fee is pretty low, at low, $3.60. There was a time where we would like legitimately rioted. We would have all like gone and completely like Zoom bombed the Ethereum main developer meeting every Friday and been like, hey, what are you doing? The transactions are $3.60. You said it should never be more than 3 cents, Vitalik. But no, we have we're just like Americans, right? We're nothing like the French, in that the French get upset when you tell them they can't use unpasteurized milk in their cheese, right? They go riot in the streets and tell you, like, show their displeasure. And Americans, we're like, we're a far cry from the revolutionaries that formed this country. And certainly when it comes to DeFi, we're just like, nah, don't care anymore. Nah, it's okay. $3.60, that's good. At least it's not 70. Ugh, what's wrong with us? Anyway, looking back at the other fees, though, median contract fee, a little under $20. It could be worse. We've seen worse in recent weeks and months. So, I mean, that's good. Glad to see that things have kind of calmed down a little bit there. Let's take a look over on the Bitcoin side, though. Definitely not worried about that. Not worried about that. Let's just look at the median transfer fee. Currently 79 cents. Wow, Bitcoin is actually quite high, 10 sats per VByte. So clearly there's activity on the Bitcoin network on chain. So could be that maybe the hype is real. Maybe it genuinely is being used a lot more for settlement of personal debts and of sort of circular Bitcoin economy over in the former Eastern Bloc countries. There's a little something wrong over on this side. What's going on? 58 grand, whatever. Something's going on over there with Ethereum. I don't know what. I probably missed some headline somewhere. I'm not gonna focus on that at the moment. If you guys know what's happening there, please do tell me in the comment section, because this is coming to you live. So if something's going on with Ethereum that you think we should dive into, I'll open up a new tab. We'll take a look at it. But for right now, it could just be a TX Street, UI thing. There's some kind of a problem with the front end not showing the little, block buses or something. Or maybe this is actually stuck. Maybe there are actually a bunch of stuck transactions. I'm not sure what's going on there, but if you have some insight, please do let me know, and we'll cover that in just a minute here. DeFi Llama is showing us that Ethereum's network dominance, its DeFi dominance, is continuing to dip, right? So that trend is continuing as well. So what is it going into? That's the big question. Terra, for one, BSC, Avalanche, Phantom, Solana, etc. We'll take a look at the stacked rankings right here. And let's boil it down to EVM first. We're going to take a look at all of the TVL on EVM chains. And when you look at just EVM chains, it's still got 70%, roughly 70% dominance. Ethereum is doing pretty well there. It's pretty healthy. But Avalanche is coming up over the last 1 month, right? The last 7 days as well. It's in the green. So is Phantom. Polygon, not so much, but the top 5 is still dominated by some familiar faces, right? BSC, Avalanche, Phantom, Polygon. Outside of Ethereum, these are the ones to look at if you're interested in maintaining that workflow of EVM. And if you think that EVM is where it's at, then you're going to continue to look at these. I think that there's a lot of value in the EVM chains. And I say that primarily because the NFT standards are set, the token standards are set, and the privacy standards are set. We've got some of these other chains coming up that are saying, oh, we believe in privacy, but they don't actually have zero knowledge instruments to maintain your privacy. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, you have to keep your anonymity by not ever telling anybody your wallet address. That's the only way you can stay anonymous on some of these other networks. But on EVM chains, Ethereum, and all the ones mentioned there before, they're all supported by Tornado Cash, or the Tornado Cash protocol could be ported over to them. And without too much difficulty, you could have zero knowledge or ZK Snark enabled smart contracts that help you sever the record from one transaction to another. Now, am I endorsing this? Yes, I am. I'm saying it's great technology. Am I saying that you should do illegal things with it? Obviously not. No. It doesn't necessarily follow that saying that there are privacy tools means that you want to do criminal things with them. So let's please stop treating it like a taboo. Let's just talk about privacy like it's an essential right and a human right, because it is, right? Like, you go to the bathroom with the door closed, you change your clothes either behind a curtain or in a closed bedroom, and you would afford other humans the same courtesy. And you would consider it a right, not just like a privilege, unless they're a prisoner, right? You got to strip search them and cavity search them, right? Like, why do we insist that all of this blockchain tech be the equivalent of a strip search? It's crazy to me, right? So EVM chains, they have that built in at this point, courtesy of tools like Tornado Cash. So I think there's still a lot of merit in this top 5 here. Kronos is coming up as well. Arbitrum also. Kronos passed almost that $2.5 billion TVL mark, and Arbitrum passed the $2 billion mark. Clayton apparently is past the $1 billion mark. I don't even know how that's possible yet. We should probably take a look at those. But Arbitrum, people have been excited about for some time. And then Kronos, of course, has that full backing of the Crypto.com team. So it's just fully understood that they're going to build that into their back end, and they're going to have that TVL figure grow very, very fast. Protocol support, though, outside of Crypto.com, I don't know how fast we can presume that's going to grow. Protocol support across the rest of these, let's take a look again, and it's just as before. Polygon is far ahead of its other competitors that are coming up, even though it's got a lower TVL, save BSC, right? Binance Smart Chain is still the king daddy of the alt EVM chains in terms of protocol support. It's just been around longer, right? DeFi Summer 2.0 kicked off with Binance Smart Chain. It was the one that yanked all that market share away from Ethereum initially, right? So if we take a look at this initial creep up, right? See, that was when BSC had a full 21% of the TVL in the DeFi markets, as Ethereum only had 74, right? So there was just like everybody else was fighting for fractions of a fraction of the market cap or the TVL, when BSC just came in guns blazing, just taking as much as they could away from Ethereum. That's since scaled back. But in the minds of VCs and investors and groups that want to get in on projects, they're still remembering when BSC did that, and they're still building on it because it's an incumbent in the DeFi space. Let's go back over to non-EVM chains. And now we see it's a different picture, right? Like the dominance there is leaning towards, first I got to go over to TVL view there so we can see that. It's Terra, it's Luna, right? Terra is in the top spot, taking 55% of the non-EVM market cap, and then it's Solana after that, Tron, Osmosis. I still think all of this is a false metric. I think all of this is basically, it's baloney when you consider that Terra is an IBC-enabled project. And you've heard me talk about it before. What is IBC? It's the Inter-Blockchain Communication Protocol, Inter-Blockchain Communication Layer. It's essentially atomic swaps between every project that uses the Cosmos SDK to build their blockchain and the Tendermint consensus protocol. So the Cosmos and Tendermint dual blockchain tech stack, it enables some pretty amazing things, but specifically atomic swaps as a primitive, as a native element of these blockchains. So I don't think it's totally appropriate to show Terra being like this island of all this protocol support by itself. It's more fair to say that Terra and UST are supported by these other networks. But that said, Terra, it can have its own swap functionality, a bit like Osmosis, right? So they are building that on top. I'm just saying that like all of it, Osmosis, Terra, all the other ones that do support it, right? Moving down the list, when we see Sif Chain, Secret Network, and several others here on the list. I don't want to pretend like I've got this exhaustive list, but Cosmos Hub especially, all of that kind of fits within the IBC network. And we really do need to have a section here. If anybody from DeFi Llama is watching, need to have a section here that's specifically IBC, because you've got these dominant players, Terra and a few others, Kava as well, and a few others, Osmosis, that basically are just in the IBC network. And it would be a similar descriptor to like EVM. So when we say EVM, we know that it means Ethereum virtual machine, and it means chains that function like Ethereum using EVM, very similar EVM scheme, right? So the account scheme of beginning with 0x, for example, same wallet addresses, same transaction ID scheme, same token standards for ERC20 and ERC721 and ERC1155 for your NFT standards. So you know that EVM encapsulates all of that. Well, with IBC, you should know that it encapsulates everything that Terra can do, everything that Cosmos can do, everything that Secret can do, everything that all those related projects can do. So I really do think that tools like DeFi Llama should have just an IBC area. CoinGecko does, if that means anything. They've got just an entire IBC network area right now, which we'll go over as we take a look at the portfolios. But I think that DeFi Llama would benefit from that greatly, so we're not just stuck with EVM and everything else. Because Solana doesn't really compare to IBC, and Tron doesn't really compare. Tron is, if anything, it's kind of a weird, it's this oddball that's kind of somewhere between EVM and something else, right? It's just such a crazy odd network. And I still am blown away that it exists anymore. I'm just gonna say it straight. I don't even know why people use it. I've been paid on Tron in some stables to do some work, and I'm like, wait, could you please not pay me in Tron? Can we please find any other way to make payment? But there you have it. There are a lot of interests in the crypto space, especially in Asia and in China, that are interested in paying on Tron. So it still exists, but they put it as 9 EVM, and I'm like, if anything, that's almost more EVM. But there you go, Cosmos. They do have Cosmos, but that doesn't tell the full story either. It's pretty close though. Good grief! I went on that rant, and it's like right there. They call it Cosmos. That's not accurate though, guys. It's not totally accurate. You should call it IBC. All right, so Cosmos, this isn't the full story either though, but yeah, I mentioned those names: Sif Chain, Kava, Osmosis, Terra, and then Thorchain, right? Most people don't know that. Thorchain is an IBC project. But yeah, there's more to it than just this. There's so many other networks that you could list here. Comdex would be one, for example, in that it supports other networks as well. But I mean, I realize it's probably only like a couple of developers that are working on this, so I don't mean to bust anybody's balls. It's just like this could be improved for our benefit here. Parachain obviously is anything that has to do with the Polkadot ecosystem. I'm still wondering how these guys are surviving, like legit, right? Biggest project here is $500 million, and a lot of interest is going back over to the Cosmos ecosystem. Because again, you see here, 23 billion, almost 2 billion there, which is, I think, even still maybe a false metric. I think that there's more to it than that. But yeah. Oh my gosh. Rug pulled again. Sorry, guys. I did not realize that there was a Cosmos area there. A little Cosmos area in DeFi Llama. That's hilarious. Old Chicken says, been a while since I watched. Kudos to you, DeFi the King. I appreciate that, Old Chicken. I appreciate that. Thank you for being here. Ooh, Paul dropping some knowledge nukes here. Yep. Says ETH devs making everyone walk. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, you are right. You're totally right. Ethereum has not been doing itself any favors for quite some time. Appreciate you guys also hitting that thumbs up, hitting that like button, making comments. If you are just lurking, don't lurk. Get subscribed. Make a comment. You're unable to comment until you've been subscribed for a short amount of time. That is a spam measure to protect other people who are commenting. It's a really good camera. It shows off my my unibrow. I mean, whatever. Yeah, it's a really good camera. It's shows off every little wrinkle. Can I do a fat wrinkle face? I don't care. Not really. It is funny though, because it's way better than the laptop web camera. Guys, but again, do hit that thumbs up. Appreciate it. All the clicks count. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being supportive. But back over to DeFi Llama. Apparently they do have that Cosmos ecosystem here. I wish we could add more. Maybe I'm able to make some suggestions. List your project. Not sure what that means. But let's take a quick look at DeFi Llama. How do you do it? You make a pull request. Oh, gosh darn it. You know what? Write an SDK adapter or a fetch adapter. Oh my gosh. The adapters repo. Okay, looks like we've got some other things to do here. I might actually go out of my way to mention this to some projects so that they know they can be listed here, because I think they could do better. And, you know, like I was saying before, it really isn't fair to ask whoever the developers are here to do all the work themselves. So, pretty cool. Might see some updates to that really soon. Guys, taking a look at our GPU mining profits, our GPU mining profitability. I'm over on whattomine.com. This is the stacked ranking, and I've got it set to 14 cent per kilowatt hour power. I realize that our guest is asking about 10 cent per kilowatt hour power as a cost basis for their mining operation. We use 14 cent per kilowatt hour just because it is a little bit more realistic in terms of what people normally have to pay across the entire country. Let me get dark readers mode off because it's not helping us as much as the built-in dark mode. But 323 is our cost, or our currently daily profit on the RTX 3090. Not a great deal. Looks like the RTX 3080 also $2.68. And then the A5000, guys, I'm not going to lie. I'm most attracted to the workstation cards because I'm not a big gamer. But guess what? If you do game, most of the workstation cards, they can be addressed by the GeForce experience, right? And the gaming drivers. So if you did need to use gaming drivers for your workstation cards, oftentimes that works just fine. I like the workstation cards because they're built to be a little more robust. They tend to have a better warranty. They tend to just run longer under worse conditions. And then they tend to hold their resale value even better than some of the desktop cards, depending on which ones you get. It's a lot more tricky actually to know which workstation cards will hold their value as well as the desktop cards, but they can hold their value much better. So I'm a big fan of those, just so you know. But the A5000 also, yeah, it's kind of holding some profit there. It's not great. Biggest loser, let's go to the bottom of the list. That's kind of what you guys need to know. The R9 380 is back in the money with what? Nothing. It's in the hole. It's negative 2 cents on everything. Negative 8 cents on Quark Hash, or on Quark Chain. Not good. The R9 Fury is still on the money, but it's an ancient card. It's just not worth it, guys. If you're holding onto an R9 Fury, please take this as your sign. If you're watching this show, anything like an R9 Fury or an R9 380 or the older 280s, 280Xs, whatever else, if you're looking at any of those old cards, either use them for gaming or sell them to a gamer, or give them to somebody in your neighborhood, give them to an underprivileged child in some area who wants to have a gaming computer so they can go play some AAA titles on like 720p. And get some adequate frame rate to play video games. But clearly, they're not making money in crypto mining. Like, you gotta just let that go. You do at this point. Probably need to let that go. The GeForce 1050 Ti also at 15 cents. The 4 gig Polaris cards not doing their best, but still in the money. They're still, in my mind, one of the best values, but that's fast disappearing. So make plans based on that, based on the real world performance. The RTX 3050, just wow, below a lot of the 1000 series cards from Team Green, like, I mean, if it's coming in below the 1066 gig, that ought to tell you something, because people are scalping these. Whew, paying way too much for that card for sure. But a lot of the 10,000 series cards or 1000 series cards are above that. 1,000 series cards are above that. Then you got the 8 gig Polaris cards at about 66 cents. Not doing so hot. Mentioned before the 5500 XT and the 6600 XT from, or 6600 from Team Red. Man, I don't know why you would pay full rate for an RX 6600 to earn 84 cents per day when you could get an RX 580 8 gig and earn 72 cents per day. So shout out to our viewers who just know better, right? Like, don't go clicking links in my description or in any other creator's description trying to buy brand new cards from Amazon or whatever. That's craziness. Right now in the current markets, that's just insane. Don't do it. And I love these people to pieces, but like, don't let yourself get wrecked following people's referral links. So bottom of the list, yeah, look at some of the coins that are still profitable: Ycash, Quark Chain, Ethereum Classic, Beam, Zero, Flux, Raven Coin. Let's see, Ryo, Conflux, Ryo. Yeah, it's funny. I've got a little DM thread with the creator of Ryo currency, Fire Ice, who was previously a mining software creator, and I never really published that DM thread because Fire Ice was like, yeah, I'm not interested in the spotlight. Really down to earth guy. Down to earth bloke. He's a Brit. And he was like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not really interested in the spotlight, but I'll answer your questions. And he just answered this DM thread with me. Super cool guy. I should probably publish that at some point. Let me know if you're interested in me making a video just about that. My little DM interview of Fire Ice, who is at the head of the Ryo currency project. But just came to mind right now when I saw it in the profit here. So let me know if you'd like to see that. But looks like we've also got Flux appearing multiple times on this list, even with the 1000 series cards. We know that it's okay on the 2000 series cards. I don't need to make like a hype video talking about how Flux is great on the 2000 series cards, because you already know. If you've been watching this stream on a regular basis, you've known for a while that it's done just fine. On the 2080, for example, it keeps showing up as profitable on a couple of specific LHR cards as well. So Flux is good on those cards where it's good. And for other cards, obviously it's not so good. But your mileage may vary. I think its highest multiple return days are actually behind it for right now. Until we return to positive price action on Bitcoin, I'd say be cautious with trying to ape into Flux now, unless you're going to build one of their service nodes and you want to get paid out as a node operator. That's different. A very different thing. Mining, just be aware. It's not the same game that it was 6 months ago. None of this is, right? Like, none of these coins are, none of these cards are. It's not the same game at all. But moving up the list, we've got Ethereum Classic, of course. Nice hack keeps showing up as well. Anything else in the coins? CTCX or CTXC. Cortex. Not familiar with Cortex. It's popped up on the list a couple times now, but I'm just not super familiar with it, guys, and I apologize for that. I should probably be more well-read on that. Maybe we get to add something new to our portfolio too. But it looks like, yep, Cortex is the name of the coin. And I think, jumping over to our portfolio, I'm going to go ahead and CTXC. Cortex, it's going into our list right now. I'm not going to waste a second. That's going into our portfolio so we can track that and figure out whether or not that's been a good term long hold. Because if it hasn't been a good term long hold, then I don't know how I feel about people mining it for daily profit when you could get wrecked on the transfer fees on exchange anyway, right? Like, you need to be able to hold it to some advantage over some period of time. Otherwise, why mine it? Yeah, you guys get it. All right, guys. Jump back into the comment section. What else we got? Latrell asking, do you have a favorite workstation card? Your chat is on screen, but I actually need to jump to a different window. I'm actually on a laptop, so I've only got one screen. I don't have two monitors. I need to get a second monitor for this laptop, but the whole point was to keep this as a mobile workstation so I can do some other things. There may be some upcoming international travel. I don't want to do any spoilers here or, sound any false alarms, but I've been preparing for that for a while. I just don't want to be stuck unable to do this quality, at least this quality of broadcast when I'm traveling. Let's see. Paul Doherty says R9 Fury's AIO water block might be okay instead of a USB fan if you're not gaming on it. Some Goblin Loser says the R9 390 is not even listed on What's Online since the only way you can mine on it is through Phoenix Miner. Yep. Some Goblin Loser. Is it a 4K camera? LOL. Actually, it is. This webcam is a 4K webcam, but I defaulted instead to going with 1080p at 60 frames per second, which it still doesn't do perfectly. It's still webcams that you don't have really fine-tuned control over the shutter angle or whatever. So it's still just a webcam though, man. And it's just easier for live streams. Anybody who's like, oh yeah, I got this mirrorless camera and I've got all this, all this other stuff set up. I'm like, okay, do you even internet, bro? Like, I've done actual film production and I know the headache of having to like swap all that stuff out. And then when you ultimately compress down to this quality anyway, what are you even doing with like, Black Magic Pocket Cinema camera or the Ursa Mini or like the Ursa 6K? Like, no, not for this. Not for this. I just don't see it personally. I don't get why. But anyway. But yeah, going back through, do I have a favorite workstation card? Latrell asks. I kind of flip-flop back and forth. When workstation cards are overpriced, I like looking at gaming cards because, especially for NVENC, NVENC encoding performance, and for like CUDA performance, you're going to get very similar performance out of the gaming cards as you would out of the workstation cards, and vice versa. That's the thing. You're going to find some workstation cards that are just really phenomenal, actually, at gaming. If you really need to game occasionally, which I don't, but if you do game occasionally, then a lot of those workstation cards are going to be fine. Currently, not the A4000, but I'm kind of stuck on the A4500. I haven't tried it yet though. But the A4500 has a higher memory bus than the 4000. It's got more characteristics in terms of overall memory bandwidth and throughput. It's got more in common with the A5000, but it's a much better price. And it doesn't have the ridiculously overbuilt memory amount on it. So you're not, because gosh, the A5000 is like 20 gigs of RAM, a VRAM or something, or 24 gigs of VRAM. And I think this one's like only 16 or something, or 12. But I forget all the specs there. But the A4500 actually has caught my eye, and it might be what I have in my workstation next. We'll see. I've got in my main workstation on the other system, I'm still dealing with the GTX 1000 series card because it's good enough. And I wanted to skip the 2000 series because it was like RTX for what I'm doing. I mean, I'm not doing real time ray tracing. I'm not using like Unity engine for certain kinds of deliverables that I have to deal with for work. If I were, maybe I would have considered going with an RTX model from the 2000 series, but I'm not. So I can skip a generation and be just fine. And if the RTX 2000 series didn't offer enough for mining, it wasn't worth aping into. And I still think it wasn't. I think it was a bit of a cash grab from NVIDIA. It works fine, but it's not great. I don't think any of them have been a great value. The 3000 series have been much, much better. The 3060 in particular, pretty awesome. But what it does well. But then the 3070, like so many other, XX70 models, is kind of like, you're an also ran, aren't you? You're not quite an XX80 or a TI, but you're not an efficiency card either, like the 50s and the 60s, are you? The 70s always been a bit of an oddball to me. So I don't love those. If I'm going to go high end, I'd rather go with like an 80 Ti or above. Otherwise, just stick with like a 3060. And yeah, because you're going to get higher memory volumes and higher memory amounts. But yeah, so I don't know. I do like, it's weird on the workstation class. Now I'm talking about both sides of my face. On the workstation class, I do like those in betweens, the kind of the oddballs. So I really like on Team Red for workstation cards. I love their dual core cards. So they had a dual core Vega, and then they had a special edition dual core Vega that was just for the Mac Pros. And then, some Goblin Loser is asking if I looked at Linus Tech Tips video on the A100 workstation card from NVIDIA. I haven't yet. I'll take a look. Yeah, I'll take a look. I haven't yet. But I do like, Linus makes some great media. Linus Media is pretty great. They run a really great show, and they've got really great editing. It's pretty awesome. Like, You know, they're what every tech tuber wants to be when they grow up, right? They're charming, they're knowledgeable, they issue retractions when they're wrong. They're still opinionated, right? They haven't lost their soul. Try to have fun. Cool channel. But no, I haven't looked at that video yet, and I will take a look. But yeah, workstation cards on Team Red. I like some of the dual core stuff from AMD because they've always had better memory bandwidth, and so having two cores on, like, two processor cores on the same card, it's like, nah, man, it just rips, just kills it, because it can actually make use of both those cards, or both of those cores. And I don't think that NVIDIA has done anything quite like that. AMD does have they've got some really cool tech, and they've always been focused on better memory controllers. That's kind of been like their bread and butter, literally since the old, like, even K7 on the desktop. AMD, before they even had the Athlon brand, AMD has always been pretty remarkably good on memory bandwidth and memory controllers. So, but yeah, and then when they acquired ATI, it was like, oh, game over. Those GPUs are going to get way better memory throughput for sure, because they're owned by AMD now. So anyway, I've been ranting for a minute. Let's take a look at our portfolios, because we took a look at the mining profitability on GPUs. We've got that new coin added to our portfolio, right, with that Cortex. We have Conflux there already. It just hasn't been performing well. So we'll see how well Cortex does. I suspect it's not going to do very well, guys, just straight up. That's my prediction for Cortex. And gosh darn it, where did Cortex even go? Cortex, what are you? Did it already fall off the list? Did I get a page refresh and lose that coin? I think I did. Oh my gosh. Don't blink, ladies and gentlemen. Do not blink. Here we are in our portfolios, though. Let's take a look at this real fast. For GPUs, we've got Flux at the top of the list. Not a shock there. Total P&L, we're up by 12%, but the portfolio is down over the last 24 hours. Flux is still in the lead. Ton Token is doing all right, but we're past that 100% profit margin. You should have taken profits when you could with Ton Token. It was not ever going to be a hold. And I kind of indicated that earlier on. Market cap at $7.5 million. I mean, it's cool, but its future is very uncertain, right? That's all I'm going to say about that. Going to the bottom of the list, though, biggest loser is not Cortex. It is Haven. Haven is our biggest loser today. It's at almost $2, but it's doing well over the last couple of days. Open up a new window or new tab for CoinGecko, and we'll do an entry for Cortex. Take a look at its recent price history. It's in the top 1,000. They're going to rank 589 on CoinGecko. Let's try to go to a 1-year view, and it's almost got it. So we do have price history from last May when we started this portfolio. So that's where we're going to take the price from, is the 26th of May from last year. Why May and why the 26th? Because that's what we did for all of the other coins. We kind of have to do that, guys. That's how we keep things honest. So take a look at that 26th of May at about 5:30 p.m. It looks like that price was 19 cents. We're going to get wrecked here, guys. We just are. 1965.34. That's our acquisition price. No, we're not. All right, cool. 1935.64. And now we're going to grab a calculator, which you're not going to be able to see because I just locked down to just that window view. 1935.64, and that gives us select all and copy all and get our quantity for our purchase in. It gives us a tidy $1,000 paper trade for this coin. Go back in time and jump to May 26th, 5:30 p.m. And now we've got a perfect price history for Cortex. Looks like Cortex is actually one of our few that's in the money. It's ahead of Equilibria. Look at that, guys. New entry. And it looks like it's actually been as good a hold as Equilibria. Almost exactly. A couple percentage points difference between Equilibria and Cortex. Not that bad. SafeCoin clearly did better. So if you were able to mine it on GPUs back in the day, it clearly did better. Cortex does have a slightly higher market cap than these other coins as well. So you guys, I'd love to take a closer look at it at some point, try to figure out what the commotion is all about there. But the price action looks very similar. Right? See that pop up and that dip back down. Very similar, probably very correlated to Ethereum and Bitcoin, right? None of these coins is immune to that. See very similar movements there, except for Etho protocol, very clearly manipulated. I'm just not seeing it, guys. I'm not seeing a reason to continue tracking Etho. Do we have any Etho maxis in the audience? If we don't, I'm going to take this one on the chin and remove it, I think, from our portfolio pretty soon. Even Zano, that's having a harder time, has been able to keep its market cap over 8 figures. So yeah, I don't know. This might be the time where we just cull anything that is below that. Yeah, cull our Rios, our Conceals, our Ethos. They do show up as being profitable to mine every now and then, though. So yeah, I'll hold off there for just a minute, but I'm just not seeing it anymore, guys. I'm not seeing why people would be interested in maintaining that. Oh dear, got complete. Yeah, all those lurkers are gone. That's good. See you, lurkers. All right, cool. Now it can just be us, me and the cool kids. Thanks for letting me hang with you guys. Appreciate that. All right, but not going to cut that just yet. Leave that exactly where it is and move from GPU portfolio over to hard drive mining. Chia is down just as bad as it's ever been. It's not down as far as its all-time low of $68, but it's pretty close. Storage is down as well. We're not shocked by this anymore, right? Really not shocked? Okay, so, I skipped to ASIC, and I really shouldn't have done that. Jump back on over to CPU mining. Get a quick overview of this. Raptorium is still in the lead. Total portfolio is still in the green, but that's because of Raptorium and Epic Cash. It is on the downtrend, though. It's been stabilizing the last couple of days. Had that little relief rally tied with Bitcoin. So did Epic Cash, just a little bit. But Epic Cash is holding a slightly higher high for this week, or slightly higher support for this week. Biggest loser is Monero at 10 cents, which is a little bit higher than before. Actually, it's been on an uptrend, 11% up this last week. So that's kind of nice to see. Let's see how it compares to Dogecoin over on the ASIC mining portfolio. Dogecoin is doing 12.5 cents. Guys, this is what I'm here for. This is what I love to see, is when Monero starts to go toe-to-toe with Dogecoin, because Monero has much stronger fundamentals and use case. It's just as cheap to use, if not cheaper, and it has privacy by default, and it's the test net for Monero. So love seeing that. Let's see. Our wrapped representations of Bitcoin are, well, they're not actually, we don't have a position in those, TBTC, SBTC, and RenBTC. Just wanted to show that they are more decentralized options as opposed to wrapped Bitcoin, WBTC, on Ethereum. If you're interested in that, if you're interested in wrapping your Bitcoin for providing liquidity in Web3, you would need to know that these exist, that they're options. And that's why they're here in this side of the portfolio. Got GMT out of this portfolio as well, because it's not strictly speaking ASIC mineable. It's not that TBTC, SBTC, or RenBTC are strictly speaking ASIC mineable, but BTC is, and you can wrap it, and then you get these. So that's why it's there. Pirate Chain is close to that dollar mark. It's up just a little bit over the last week. That relief rally did kind of put it in a better position now. Everything in this side of the portfolio is looking a little bit better over the 7-day because of that, but the total P&L for this portfolio is bad. It's down. We're down 50%. So all of your ASIC mineable coins are down. Hopefully you were able to mine these coins. All right, FPGA mineable coins. Total P&L is up 127%. Cadena is carrying it. Bitcoin, 0x Bitcoin actually is still in the green, so that's good too. And then Digibyte, still the biggest loser at about 1.9 cents. Hasn't changed all that much. Had that relief rally that came back to the same support level as before. Nimiq, I saw in the comment section that Sam was mining Nimiq on CVP13, clearly a high earner on CVP13. So if you are FPGA mining, you might be considering Nimiq, you might be considering Handshake or 0x Bitcoin. Any one of these could be a good option for you. So you figure out what is the best. But clearly Cadena outperformed the others in terms of just holding it in a portfolio. So you got to make some decisions there as far as what am I going to hold for the long term. Cadena did not have this position earlier on. It was very different a few months ago. And this stacked ranking has changed a few times. The FPGA mining side of our portfolio has been very interesting to say the least. But 0x Bitcoin was our biggest loser for the longest time and had much higher frequency swings going on every single day, roughly every hour, had a couple of swings. And so people were able to do like arbitrage and use swing trading bots to get some pretty, do some pretty significant scalp trading in 0x Bitcoin in a fully automated way. No longer the case, but now it's holding a slightly higher price versus when we first put it in the portfolio. So you guys, you have to make some decisions about what you're going to hold and what you're going to trade. You just have to. Mining and acquiring things at a lower cost basis, it's sometimes not enough to make sure that you're actually making real money, actually earning real profits. So just throwing that out there as well, guys. FPGAs look pretty good. FPGA mining looks pretty good. Proof of stake smart contracts. Oof. I'm getting a little bit tongue-tied, guys. Got to get back to work on my other day job. But Terra, so I'm trying not to rush either, but you know, isn't that weird? It's like, hurry up. Wait, don't rush, but hurry up. So Terra is our top entry here. Phantom, Avalanche, Solana, and then Cosmos. $32. The article that we read before said that they think it could be deflated all the way down to $28. I don't know what they mean there. Personally, I think that Cosmos is it's fully rebranded to Cosmos Hub at this point, not just Cosmos anymore, but Cosmos Hub at $32. I don't know if I'm seeing the same signs of illness that they are. Terra also, though, over the last 7 days, it clearly experienced a greater pump than Bitcoin's relief rally. So not really sure what to make of that. Some of that could have to do with the fact that there's staking incentives in these ecosystems. So those relief rallies, when they come up, or those rallies, when they pop up, they're slower to return. So it's a slightly longer, more protracted cycle to see things return to some kind of support level lower after that has happened. But that's our proof of stake smart contracts. Biggest losers: Internet Computer, Zill, EOS, and Neo, as well as Kusama. Yeah, not really sure what to tell you. If you are deeply embedded in, deeply entrenched in these projects, I would say, why? I just don't understand it. Why? Tell me in the comment section if you know, if you have a reason for being entrenched in these projects. What do you think is the main draw for projects like these? I just want to know. I'm very, very curious because I don't get it. I really don't for some of these. I think some of them have very clear corporate state backing, and that's just not my jam. Junk drawer side of the portfolio is showing Everrise at the very top, but here's our dark secret. Everrise, in order to get a $1,000 position as early as we possibly could, put us in control of about half of the coin supply. So this is entirely bogus here, this entry. We need to know that that's just not something that's realistic at all. Saitama Inu, very likely a similar problem, right? So let's take a look at our, I don't even know if I can count, like properly measure the amount that we have in our trade here, and then bring it over to the coin supply to make sure that it's appropriate, right? But these two top entries, just know that we got a position that's very unrealistic for most people in a paper trade. We didn't actually put this trade in. I don't actually have $33 million worth of Everrise. In case you really need me to spell it out, that's not something that I possess. It's just in a paper trader right here. Paper tracker, rather. Floki Inu, UFO Gaming, Luffy, Dojalon Mars, Zio, Everdome. What? Everdome? Yes, Everdome. This is something that I covered a while back, and I did that as a sponsored review, but I did get myself a position in Everdome because it was that good, and it won me over. And at this point, I'm seeing, if you had gotten in at the earliest possible time, roughly like when it went public, and when I alerted the audience of Everdome's existence, you'd be up over 100%, and that wouldn't have even been the best of it. You probably could have sold on a multiple before keeping a moon bag and still having a bit of your initial in. So yeah, I'm not even gonna apologize for that. Everdome, kicking butt. Shiba Inu is all right, over 100% profits. Hex also over 100% based on our trade right there. I've been saying that if you got it at below 12 cents, that you were in good shape. Looks like I was wrong. That call for the amount that, or the target for entry that would have kept you profitable in Hex, I was wrong. Apparently it can definitely hemorrhage even more, and it's continuing to do so. 14% down to the last week when every other coin is experiencing recovery. Hex is just continuing to get punched in the teeth. So bummer. Pour one out for the Hexians. GMT token profitable, but biggest loser right now. Wait a second. That's not a loser. Volt Inu, what are you doing there? We'll put an entry in for you next time. Bone is down pretty hard. And don't read into that. Good grief. I'm getting loopy, guys. I've got to have that protein shake. I'm probably just getting hungry and tired. But Quick is kind of holding over the last week and in fact, going up, experiencing a good sustained recovery since there was that relief rally this week. So higher lows for both Quick and DQuick. DeFi yield protocol, not so much, kind of maintaining its support after that pop upwards. Several other coins the same way, but it's great to see that Quick and QuickSwap are doing pretty well. As I understand it, there is currently a governance vote in place right now for them to do a token split for QuickSwap. So if you use QuickSwap and if you own any Quick, you should go vote. Personally, I think that's one of the most important things you can do if you hold governance tokens is to be involved in governance, because it's provably fair governance. You can actually vote and know that your chain, that your vote has been counted on chain. So throwing that out there as well, guys. But that is our junk drawer. Last but definitely not least, IBC Gang, guys. IBC Gang is going to show us roughly the number of coins that are in that club that I mentioned before. We've got Terra, Cadena Secret, Osmosis, Cosmos Hub, and then Comdex all in the money. Comdex is barely above the entry point. If you bought it right when it launched, right when it went public, you're 0.8% above. It's really not by much at all. So that $1,000 is yielding $8 in profit. But you're not in the red yet. Everything below that is in the red. Kind of a bummer to see that, but oh well, that's how it does, right? Like, take profits when you can without dumping, without wrecking the project. Take profits while you can. Guys, that is that side of the portfolio. I didn't go over how much it costs to mine one full Bitcoin. We can take a quick look at that. Antminer S9. You'd need to be on 9-cent power to be profitable mining Bitcoin right now. I think that's probably a good time to just say, like, we'll do some closing words here, guys. Answer any questions if there are any in the chat right now. Red Robles says this market is crazy. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're definitely right. But guys, just to say, you got to be really cautious about whether or not you're holding on to mining gear that is an anchor around your neck. It's totally possible to do that with ASICs in particular. The S9 was the most available Bitcoin miner over this last market rally, over this last bull market, and it maintains its status as like the iconic Bitcoin miner, but it's not the most profitable. It's not the most efficient, and it's, even though it's plentiful, it's very easy to buy one now and get wrecked. Some Goblin Loser asks, did I miss the 0x Bitcoin chart? Yes, you did. We didn't look at it in depth because it stopped doing its weird high frequency swing oscillation. So we're not gonna, I think those days are over. Somebody caught on to that and wrote themselves a healthy profit seeking arbitrage bot, and they retired happy. That's what we're just gonna have to tell ourselves, is they bought their private island. They've got their own little private jet to get back, to it and then back to the mainland as they see fit. And they're just retired and happy. Thanks to 0x Bitcoin. And thanks to you. Thanks to you, because you told them. I'm sure it's you. You know what? Some Goblin Loser, you have that island, don't you? Drinks on some Goblin Loser next time we see him in person. Guys, appreciate you watching this all the way to the end. That was a bit longer than I intended for it to be, about an hour and a half for this episode. Let me know, are you looking for some kind of work in cryptocurrency, in the crypto industry? Because I'm hiring personally. I'm looking for someone to work on some of the media for the Mind Your Biz channel. You may have noticed over the last several days that I haven't published as frequently as I like to because of other work that I've been doing. But I am personally hiring. I'm looking for freelancers to assist in the production of this media. It pays in crypto natively. It's a great way to get exposure to crypto if you don't want to have to spend your own fiat money on it. But let me know. Contact info, as per usual, is always down in the description of this video. Appreciate you watching to the end, guys. You're the reason I make this media. I love your face. Remember to stay private. Mind your biz.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video. Remember to check out mineyour.biz, where you can sign up for Mind Your Biz Insiders, our occasional newsletter where we don't spam you. We do send out occasional important information, including flash sales and important deals on privacy-preserving technology. This is one of the ways that we can talk to you uncensored and without the oversight of third-party media platforms. You can also check out the Mind Your Biz phone as well as merch, or sign up to become an affiliate for either one. Anything sold directly on the mineyour.biz website, you can earn a percentage of. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video. You're the reason I make this media. I love your face. Remember to stay private and mind your biz.